So in this video, we're going to learn how to create a really simple Laravel project. We're going to create a random fact generator that will automatically retrieve a random fact from the database every time we reload a page. So if I refresh, you can see we got a different fact. If I refresh again, we're going to get a different fact, and you can see it's just going to keep randomly picking a new fact out of our database. So this is really easy to set up, so that's what we're going to be learning how to do in this video. So in the last video we had our Hello World project, and we have a folder called Roots that's really important, and we have a folder called App. So this folder contains our models and our controllers, and there's a folder called HTTP, and within that there's our controllers. So user is our model and our controllers are in our controllers folder. So Laravel automatically generated a user model, and within our database folder we have our migrations, and it automatically generated 2 migrations to create a users table and to create a password resets table. So I'm going to delete those migrations because I don't want to create a users table and a password resets table for this video. So we're going to delete those, and we're also going to delete our user model. Laravel also comes with authentication built in, but we don't need it, so we're going to delete that as well. So what we need to do first is create our database, and we called it Laravel in our configuration file. You can see there's our database, it's called Laravel. So I'm going to create a database called Laravel. So now that we've created our database table, we want to create a migration that will create our facts table to store all of our facts. So to create that, what we want to do is we want to use artisan, and we want to paste in this command. We say we want to use PHP artisan, then we want to say make migration because we're creating a migration. We're calling our migration create facts table, and the table we're going to create is going to be called facts. So if I hit enter now, you can see it created a migration, it created a new PHP file for us, and now this is our blank migration. So I'm going to modify this PHP file to change the table that gets created when we run the migration. So to do that, I'm just going to say table, and I'm going to add a string column which is a varchar, and it's going to be called fact, and that's where we're going to store our facts. So now that we've done that, we want to say PHP artisan migrate. And you can see what it did was it created our facts table for us. So if I refresh, we're going to have 2 tables. We have facts and migrations. Migrations is one that Laravel created for us, and facts is the table that I just created. So you can see I've added 4 random facts, and that's going to be our data set for this video. So Laravel follows the MVC pattern. So what we have to do is create a model and a controller. So if we look at artisan, you can see there's make, and within make we can make a model and we can make a controller. So we're going to say PHP artisan make model, and we're going to call our model fact because we're retrieving random facts. So we've created our model, and now we want to create our controller, and we're going to call our controller fact controller. So now that we've created our model and our controller, what we want to do is create a root. So we go to our web.php file in our roots folder, and you can see when we send a get request to the root of our website, we return the welcome view. So if I was to change this, say hello world, so we're just going to return hello world, we're not going to return a view. And I was to go back to our website, you can see we just get hello world printed out. So what we want to do is we want to call a controller whenever we access a root. So we're going to delete this part of the function, and we're going to put a comma in here, and we're going to say that we want to go to the fact controller that we just created, and we want to go to the get fact method. So here's our controller, and here's the method within it. So we scroll up, and you can see here's fact controller here. This fact.php file is our model. As you can see, it extends model, and fact controller is our controller. So we want to create a public function called get fact, and we're going to just return hello world with an exclamation mark. So now if I was to refresh, what we would get is hello world with an exclamation mark. But what we want to do is we want to have some logic in here that queries our database. So to do that, what we have to do is we have to say use app/fact to use our fact model so that we can query the database. That's our fact model down here. It's in the app folder. So we have to say use app/fact. And what we want to do is we want to return fact. Then we want to use the all method to get all of their facts. Then we want to narrow it down to say random, because we want to pick one of the facts out of the table at random, and we only want to limit that to 1 fact. So now if I was to refresh, you can see now we have raw JSON returned to us, and if I was to refresh, we'll get a different fact. And you can see Laravel did all that for us, and all I had to do was 1 line of code. So instead of returning the facts in this sort of format, what we're going to do is we're going to create a view. So we're going to say instead of returning the fact, we're going to return a view. And we're just going to return the welcome view. That's the default view that Laravel created. And if we go to resources and we go to views, there's our welcome.blade.php file, and that's our view. So what I did was I overwrote the view with just some custom styling. So what I did was I styled the h1 tag just to center it, make it a bit bigger, make it italic. And here what we did was just place the h1 tag here, and we used the Blade templating language to print out a variable called fact. So if I was to run this now, we get an error because the view doesn't have any variables called fact. So what I want to do is put in an array as our second argument to our view function, and we want to say our fact variable is going to be equal to hello world. So now if I was to refresh, we're going to get the design I just pasted in, but we're also going to get the hello world variable printed out. You can see now we have hello world printed out on the screen. But of course we want to get that from the database. So what I'm going to do is, instead of printing out hello world, we're going to print out fact, and fact is going to be equal to our fact model, which is how we access that table. And we want to say all, then we want to pick one of the items from the table at random. We only want to pick one, and we want to make sure we close off our array. And if I save that, you can see we get everything printed out from the table. But you can see that this square bracket means it's in an array, and then we have the fact element within that. So to access a single fact, we just want to access the first element in that array, and then access the fact property. So you can see we access the first element in this array because this array only has one element, and then we access the fact attribute. So if I was to refresh now, we just get the fact printed out, and if I refresh again, we get a different fact printed out, and Laravel did all this for us. And all we needed to do was just 2 or 3 lines of code. So that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, favorite, and subscribe. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Reddit. But that's it for this video, and I'll see you next time.